All right, welcome back, everyone. Today, we are diving into something incredibly valuable. Whether you're prepping for your certification exam or you just want a rock-solid, comprehensive foundation in mobile app quality, you are absolutely in the right place. We're going to walk through a complete recap of the ISTQB mobile application testing syllabus. My primary goal for this explainer is to give you the complete idea of this information so it will perfectly serve as your ultimate recap. Let's get focused and build that knowledge. So, here is our roadmap for today's explainer. 1. The mobile testing landscape. 2. App types and architectures. 3. Mnemonic heuristics for testing. 4. Exploratory testing tours. And finally, 5. Mobile test automation. Okay, let's jump right into part 1. The mobile testing landscape. Before we even touch a line of code or write a single test script, we really have to understand the environment our mobile apps are operating in. And honestly, it is wild out there. The biggest hurdle we face right out of the gate is device fragmentation. I mean, think about it. There are tens of thousands of distinct Android device profiles active right now. As testers, we aren't just testing one piece of software on one machine. We have to account for a massive web of variables. We're talking multiple operating system versions across different platforms and the market distribution of device types, which, by the way, changes wildly depending on your geographic location. Then you've got differing screen sizes, totally different resolutions, various input methods, and don't even get me started on the huge variety of camera hardware. We literally have to test across this entire fragmented landscape just to ensure a consistent user experience. Moving right along to Section 2, App Types and Architectures. Because the hardware environment is so incredibly fragmented, developers rely on different software architectures to try and adapt to it. So let's do a rapid-fire breakdown of the main app types you'll be testing. First up, native apps. These are built specifically for one single platform. Then you have your web-based apps, and I really want you to pay close attention to the difference here. Responsive web apps automatically adjust their design to the form factor and screen size, usually based on fluid viewports. Adaptive web apps, on the other hand, adjust their design according to strict, predefined sizes. They basically load a completely different layout depending on the device size they detect. Knowing that distinction between responsive and adaptive, that is a classic exam check. And finally, we have progressive web apps. Speaking of classic exam topics, let's talk about the Progressive Web App, or PWA. These are totally unique because they're essentially web apps, but they allow users to create shortcuts directly on their mobile home screen. To the user, they appear and behave almost exactly like a native app, and they even use cached data so they can sometimes work completely offline. It's a genuinely fantastic architecture, but it requires a really specific testing approach to make sure those offline capabilities and home screen launches actually work flawlessly. All right, Section 3, Mnemonic Heuristics for Testing. So we've talked about the hardware, and we've talked about the software. Now let's get into testing strategy. What exactly is a heuristic? Well, think of it as a rule-of-thumb approach to problem solving. It's highly practical. It doesn't guarantee to be absolutely perfect or optimal every time, but it is totally sufficient for achieving your immediate testing goal. In the incredibly fast-paced world of mobile testing, heuristics are your absolute best friend. They keep you moving fast and uncovering bugs efficiently. A lot of mnemonics can actually be used as heuristics to guide your testing. A super famous one in the mobile testing space is I sliced up fun. It's a mental map for every major area you need to remember to test on a mobile device. Everything from inputs and store to location, interactions, communications, ergonomics, and data. And that is just the top row. Let's drill down into just a few letters of that mnemonic to show you how practical it really is. Take D for data. It prompts you to test how data is stored, modified, added, or even deleted on an SD card. P stands for platform, checking if specific OS functions are available or how the app interacts with the App Store itself. O is for operations, and this one is crucial for mobile. What actually happens to your app when the user walks out of their house and moves from their Wi-Fi over to their cellular carrier network. And T for time, making absolutely sure the app handles time zones and date changes accurately as a device travels around the world. So we've got these fantastic mental models and rule-of-thumb heuristics, but how do we actually apply this in practice when we have a physical device in our hands? That brings us perfectly to Section 4, Exploratory Testing Tours. This is exactly how we take those heuristics and turn them into a structured, hands-on testing session. Tours are a method used in exploratory testing. They give you a very specific point of view and a highly targeted focus. Instead of just picking up the phone and clicking around randomly, you are taking a tour to understand workflows and create mental models of how the app actually behaves out in the wild. The ISTQB syllabus uses some incredibly memorable metaphors to define these tours. For instance, the landmark tour means you act just like a tourist visiting a new city. You only visit the biggest, most important core features of the app. The supermodel tour? Well, you aren't testing functionality there at all. Your entire focus is just on the look, the feel, and the usability. Are the buttons aligned right? Are the colors correct? Then you have the sabotage tour, which is exactly what it sounds like, aggressively testing robustness by actively trying to break the app. And the low battery tour specifically tests if the app causes any data loss when the device's energy levels drop. These metaphors just make it so incredibly easy to assign a specific mission to your testing sessions. Finally, let's wrap up with Section 5, Mobile Test Automation. Exploratory testing is amazing, but to handle that device fragmentation we talked about earlier at scale, we need automation. But to automate a test, your script has to be able to essentially see and interact with the application. There are 3 main object identification methods every tester needs to understand. First is image recognition. Second is OCR, or optical character recognition, which literally turns pictures of text into machine-readable text. And third is direct object recognition, which hooks right into the web or native graphical objects directly in the code itself. Now, here is the absolute crucial point for your recap: understanding the trade-offs between these tools. Native object identification interacts directly with the code. It is way faster, but there's a big risk. A script might interact with an object that is technically present in the code, but completely hidden from the actual human user on the screen. Plus, it requires manual scripting knowledge. On the flip side, image and OCR comparison is full GUI-based testing. It sees exactly what the user sees. But it tends to be much slower because it's comparing pixels. And if your UI layout changes even slightly, your automated tests will instantly fail. You always have to choose the right tool for the specific risk you're trying to mitigate. And there we have it. We've covered the fragmented hardware landscape, architectures like PWAs, cognitive tools like the sliced-up fun heuristic, exploratory tours, and test automation. I hope this explainer gave you a complete idea of this information, so it will genuinely help you recap everything you need to know. But remember, as mobile technology evolves into wearables, AR, and AI, this fragmented landscape is only going to get more chaotic. So the ultimate question I'll leave you with is this: as apps become more complex, will your testing strategy evolve fast enough to break them before your users do? Take this recap, apply it to your next sprint, and I'll see you in the next explainer.